Hey friends, and welcome back. OBS Studio just updated itself, so everything looks slightly different now, so it kind of like puts me off a little bit. But I'm sure I'll get used to that in a second. We're going to be continuing Jaraci Cup 1 here now with a game between Coercer and Descara. And other than a tiebreaker match which was played, I'm happy to say this is the last game from the group stage. Can you believe it? So we're almost onto the upper bracket, which means I can finally avoid the spoilers, which I've been waiting for a long time to get around. In fact, I might just go crazy today and upload a lot, so we'll have to see. I shouldn't say stuff like that until I actually do it, because I'll get people's hopes up, but you know, whatever. Players here are going to be Descara. Everyone knows who Descara is, I should expect, and Coercer. I haven't seen too much of Coercer before. I did cast his games with A-Game a little while ago, but it's A-Game, so you know. I don't really know how well I don't know how well Coercer plays, but from what I understand, he's kind of one of the longer-standing members of the community, so a lot of you will probably know him pretty well. Just gonna go out there and just gonna go ahead and put it out there that probably Descara will take this one. But you never know. Miracles happen. I've beaten this guy once or twice after all, so anything's possible. Sporkers are first coming out of Descara right here. Has not retired the base runner. I've talked to him a little bit about this, and he says because of that base runner turret ability, keeping the base runner alive is actually a lot safer than retiring him, and so he doesn't like to do it in the early game. I know a lot of players who would disagree, but it's Descara, so like I trust him. LAVFab coming out right after that, before he pops the wreck, mind you. Small detail there, but it is important to get those little small things down too. Coercer put 4 on CUs, but these two long-distance miners are both on RUs. I wonder if that's indicative of what he's going to go for here, or not. But I know he's stacking a couple of resources here. He might just go for refinery mode early. We'll just have to see. Probe comes out for Descara. Not at all too soon, mind you. He doesn't like to send that thing right in the beginning because it slows down your eco here, but he does want to scout out what his opponent is doing. Sees the base runner in the middle, and he does dodge pretty well, only takes about like 50 damage from that. Coercer's still stacking quite a bit. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for refinery mode just yet. Because that seems like what he's going for, right? Production crews are going to chew up that probe a little bit and does in fact get the kill, so Descara not really getting much information, but I think he saw the carrier. He should know that there is no tech out yet. That's probably having him feel a little bit safe. It's going to be railgun fabrication coming up from Coercer as well as refinery mode, yeah. So just a little bit late on both of those, but they are coming. There's like an 8-second delay before railgun fabrication's finished. If Coercer makes a railgun immediately, like he's not going to have any problems with AAV rushes, but or I mean it wouldn't be a rush at this point, but AAV pushes, you know what I'm saying. But that is going to be Descara's tech choice. It's just very standard. Nothing surprising right there. That's something I really kind of like about watching Descara, is that I feel he plays very standard, you know what I mean? Which, yeah, that can actually get boring every now and then when you want to like see something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more counter meta, but it's really nice to just see, you know, good DOK being played, and I always feel like I'm going to get that out of him. It's like we're never going to get kind of like a throw or like a choke or whatever from Descara. He's just so consistent, and so it's really nice to watch him. You know, you kind of feel like you're expecting to see the best. Fighter and gunship on the way for him, by the way. I like to just point out he's on 2 base quite a bit before his opponent because of that delayed refinery mode tech there. Coercer finally getting that second base set up now. I mean, he's been mining from it for a while, but refinery mode just finished. As well as Fleet Cap 45 just now finishing from Coercer. Although I guess he doesn't really have much army on the field, so that wasn't so important. I like this little harassment by the sand skimmer there. This guy obviously just here to scout, but I mean, if you're already there, you might as well just shoot at some people, right? Sand skimmer's gonna get killed by the AAVs out here, so Coercer knows about that. And he's made heavy railguns, not assault railguns. So that's kind of an interesting choice there. One thing Descara, I think, has gotten very good at is making AAVs, then going for air, and if there are railguns out to counter the AAVs, then the air can come wreck the railguns up pretty nicely. I imagine we'll be seeing some of that in just a second here as fighter and gunship fabrication finishes along with the carrier production upgrade, so his timing is pretty much perfect. If you would actually queue up some units here, yeah, there we go. And it's going to be making strike fighters 2 at a time. Again, a game that we've seen many times from Descara. Coercer here looking like he's kind of on defense mode. He doesn't really want to try to take too much map control. I was really happy in the early game about how much scouting he was getting there. I feel like once the AAVs came out, his scouting just kind of like opened up and let them through, which is probably like okay, right? He does have the proper defense for these AAVs right here, but yeah, I don't feel like he's going to be getting anything done on the map here. And Descara getting a little bit cheeky with the artifact he picks up, takes this one here, which is obviously where that Galzian base runner wanted to go. So I think at this point another extraction from Coercer is unlikely in the early game. 4 strike fighters are finished. It's going to be another sport cruiser on the way. Somehow they were made in like a square rather than filling up that one. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. He's like a magician. But it looks like 4 are going to launch at the same time, and I gotta say, this is probably not meant to shoot at that sand skimmer. I think he accidentally just wasted a couple missiles there. This is probably for railguns, because if he only launches 4, he's not going to be taking out a production cruiser with this anytime soon. And it's going to be straight into assault cruisers, despite railguns already being on the field. I like that. It's interesting to see, but we know Descara has been very good with that assault cruiser recently. Even starting to use it in vanilla, but especially in the patch. And it looks like he actually is trying to strike at the eco right here. One of the strike fighters getting dangerously low. I'd love to see him dock this poor fellow. But a lot of eco damage being done here. Man, he doesn't need to dock him. What am I talking about? No, he is going to die here. Okay, so he does go down. Descara is not perfect or anything, but... Air transition, of course, not being expected properly from Coercer. Did I say Roby earlier? I have a feeling that I did. There are actually 2 production cruisers out, which offers some good anti-air, but it's not good enough to stop those salvagers from getting taken out. Second sport cruiser's out, gonna fill up this 3rd base here, and Descara is starting to look mighty ahead in this game. Another assault railgun gets popped over there meanwhile. Actually, the base runner getting in some good damage over here, but it's probably not gonna amount to too much, is it? As those guys are just gonna dock and they will be home free. This guy here, unfortunately, a bit late to the party. He's gonna have to wait, but and that should bring the scoreline 1-1 as well. I think this AAV gonna quite handily take out the base runner as well. Excuse me. As I attempt to swallow my own phlegm. Support cruiser comes out over here, and it looks like Descara gonna actually mobilize his carrier now. I think he's doing that because of how ahead he sees that he is. He knows how much eco damage he did over here. There's only a couple railguns out now for... Okay, well there's a few railguns, but still. I think Descara feeling rather confident if he kind of muscles his carrier in there now, he's gonna be able to do quite a lot of damage. I thought for sure this base runner was gonna get killed, but it looks like maybe not. I think actually Descara could have popped the smoke right there and still killed the guy off, but he does have all these air units too, so I mean, I imagine that base runner stays our number. Missile ship fabrication just now coming out for Coercer. I feel like that's quite late. Excuse me. He still just doesn't really have a good answer to those strike fighters. Another thing you see Descara do a lot is he uses this as kind of like a transition unit. So once you get enough anti-air to finally cover against it, he's not really using them anymore. And you kind of feel dumb for like even having had them. If I were him, I would definitely take out this base burner though. Like just one missile is going to do it, and if you're going to be fighting the carrier pretty soon, which it looks like you are, you know, you might as well rob him of 2 power. Like that's pretty good. It seems it would just be, you know, so casual to like kill him. Just send like one of these guys like, oh hey, take that out by the way. But unfortunately we're not going to see that. But the Descara's carrier is getting get up here in the 3rd base. Assault cruiser is like finishing soon-ish, and then there's an artillery cruiser right after it too. No railguns necessary, it seems, for Descara, and he's just gonna ride right in here. Now, like I said, there were quite a couple of railguns, but those air units are doing a good job taking them out. At this point, only 3 left. That is gonna be enough to force Descara to, you know, reconsider the attack for now, but he has pushed his opponent off that 3rd base. And you know how it goes, like from this point he's only gonna get further and further ahead. Some good counterplay coming out here by Coercer as he tries to send these sand skimmers over into the back line. But there is actually an AAV waiting there, so that's not gonna go anywhere. Extraction does come out, so it is 2-1. There's even a support cruiser here too, which I think is a nice touch. Obviously, want to keep that carrier healthy. And the assault cruiser positioned quite well right behind that dune there. Going to be difficult for the railguns to push on this carrier at all, so how is Coercer going to dislodge this attack? It's unclear. Army units repositioning in an interesting way, actually. But it looks like he's just trying to keep 1 on each of his expansions there. Artillery coming out, and it's actually hitting the salvagers for now, which is pretty funny. Yeah, he really can't stay there, can Coercer. It looks like he's just gonna stick it. I think he dies, like, right here. Oh, that is so close. I don't know, that's pretty risky. Yep, I took a screenshot. No, you can't have my screenshots, they're mine. Oh, you know what? This assault cruiser is actually coming in on this side now. You know, he's gonna back up now. It looks like he wants to help deal with the railguns, but I think he should just do it. Yeah, he turns on the overcharge, he runs in there, and I mean, this is gonna be a whole lot of dead salvagers. I hope he doesn't go for the second, because there's actually no one there. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, this is just like a perfect, you know, fold in. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. He's folding in on his opponent on all sides. You know what I'm saying? It's a perfect fold in, but that's like, you say it's a fold when you give up in a card game. Anyway, this carrier in range of the railguns now. Certainly doesn't hurt that he's got power reserve 3 and 2 artifacts, so he's got a lot of range in this guy. And you know, just Coalition doing Coalition does best, although you can see it takes a little bit longer in the mod. But those railguns are going to get smoked eventually. Nothing else to hold the line here, and so Coercer should be out of luck, and this game will be over. Look how many support cruisers there are, man. Actually, I believe the support cruiser healing has been buffed somewhat in the patch. Hold up, Coercer has power reserve 3 as well. Oh. Well, you know, I gotta say, I didn't see that. That maybe changes things a little bit. Still, though, Descara is kind of chilling out over here. Like, he's got no threat to his eco, really. There's just, like, a couple sand skimmers out here. Unfortunately, beaten a little bit to that base runner there. I think his AAV should just come out here. So, I mean, he's got unlimited eco, if you will. His opponent definitely does not. So, this still should be a wrap. But, you know, Coercer going to make this a little bit closer than it could have been otherwise. If I were Descara, I think I would finally just cave in and start making railguns here. Maybe he's trying to prove a point with this, I don't know. But, hold up, where are these PCs going? Oh, I guess they're just trying to get safe, I don't know. But I mean, maybe they should be with the railguns to give that anti-air coverage, right? Descara kind of bleeding units in a funny way here. I mean, like I said, he should just make railguns at this point, but, you know, it'll do. Like, whatever he makes is fine, really, at this point. Artillery comes out right on top of his opponent, can't actually get far enough away to, like, shoot at him at all, which is pretty funny. It's gonna be a dead railgun right there if it doesn't move right now. Skadoosh. This artillery cruiser getting popped out just to fire one barrage. It's quite funny looking. Another artifact that's extracted, by the way, which is kind of funny. I think Descara finally realizing that base runner was actually not carrying an artifact at all. But an assault cruiser is popping out right now. This can actually do notable damage to a carrier, but more importantly, those TAC missiles can do a lot. The thing is, if he's on top of his opponent, you can't really use him because he's going to hit both the carriers in one shot. There's the barrage. It's a little bit off though. It's going to hit that support cruiser, I think. That's funny. But the carrier is going to go down. I mean, this was a pretty foregone conclusion from a while ago, so that is going to be the end. Whoever is piloting that Coalition carrier, getting a little bit close to his opponent perhaps as he explodes. If you've ever played Homeworld Remastered, you know it can happen. But that's fine, that's fine. And Descara gonna take game 1 fairly handily, I would say. Do note that it's been like 13 minutes. Descara doesn't take games quickly, he just takes them really well. We're gonna go ahead into game 2 here now, but I hope you enjoyed that.